targeted at the very soul of man, packaged with fine-sounding words, and served under the guise of science and technological benefits. The unsuspecting embrace it, but the spiritually alert see this for what it really is. It's called the transhumanist agenda.
Transhumanism, as I said to you, is actually the survivor of eugenics. That's what transhumanism really is. Let me tell you what they say transhumanism is. Now here's how it is well polished. It is a social and philosophical movement devoted to promoting the research and development of robust human enhancement technologies. You know, when they define these kind of things, they stretch it so that the ordinary folks can understand. You understand what I'm saying? So you really have to look beyond the verbosity to understand what they're saying. Such technologies would augment or increase human sensory reception, emotive ability, or cognitive capacity, as well as radically improve human health and extend human life.
Transhumanism is the idea that we can improve man in all imaginable respects.
Transhumanism is the idea that man is merging with technology. Transhumanism is a term used for a broad range of ideas that technology is greatly enhancing human capabilities. This means everything from bionic limbs, brain implants, artificial intelligence, to even someday uploading our minds to the internet. And we have already a symbiotic relationship with our technology.
Everything sounds beautiful. So you think, this is wonderful. But you see, it is the belief. Here's another thing. It is the belief or theory that the human race can evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitations, especially by means of science and technology. This is the crazy part of it. So, with this kind of definitions, you can be convinced that it is something positive. I mean, if you are someone who pursues some kind of education, you would love this because it sounds nice. The elite will like this. This enhancement of our capacity, our mental capacity, the enhancement of our health, extension of human life.
Body 2.0 will include artificial eyes with zoom capabilities, infrared sensors, and night vision will be possible. And the prosthetic limbs of the future will be even more flexible and powerful than our original organic limbs that we have today.
Who wouldn't want all that? And so they say, by means of science and technology. This is where, when you say by means of science and technology, you're beginning to say that you can actually alter the individual's capacity. The man who can alter it and make it better, why can't he make it worse? If he knows how to make it better, it means he's also found out how to make it worse, if he chooses to.
The concept of transhumanism has its early roots in the 1900s, where the biologist Julian Huxley, who is regarded as a founder of transhumanism, first used the term transhumanism as a title of a 1957 article, which turned out to be influential. In 1988, the first transhumanist magazine, Extropy, Vaccine for Future Shock, was published by Max Moore and Professor T.O. Morrow.
Well, I've been in transhumanism for about as long as modern transhumanism has existed. There have been various precursors. It's hard to say exactly where things start, but back in 1990 I wrote an essay called Transhumanism Toward a Futurist Philosophy. And people had used the word transhuman before, but in the modern sense, nobody really created a philosophy of transhumanism. So I was really the first person to do that and developed what we call the principles of extropy, which is a particular transhumanist philosophy.
Moving to the late 90s, the first version of a would-be-called transhumanist manifesto was published by Natasha Vita Moore in 1992. Through the decades, the concept of transhumanism has evolved and received a wider acceptance amongst many schools of thought, especially amongst the so-called elite. But as exciting as these science and technological cloaked benefits might seem, a closer look at the definition of this digital revolution seems to reveal much more than meets the eye.
They had planned that it was time for them to begin to bring men into the age of the robots, where man is giving his brain over to machines. So they said that they're going to improve the quality of humanity. This is crazy. And I'll tell you why it's crazy. Because there are a lot of people who thought that that's a good idea. Yeah, it's a good idea until you understand it, because they don't tell you the whole truth. And if you don't have the perception of the Spirit, how can you understand the truth?
Transhuman, I tend to reserve that term for something that really makes a fundamental change in the human condition. And by the human condition, if that's not to be arbitrary, I think it has to mean defined by our genes, because that's what separates us from other species. So if our genes then lead to a certain kind of brain development, a certain ability in the range of visual acuity, of auditory perception, which are limited by the way our genes have built us, then when we start talking about directly altering those genes to give us abilities beyond that, or implanting devices, or doing some of the re-engineering of the human body or brain that allows us to have perceptual and cognitive and emotional ranges beyond that of any human being, then we can talk about transhuman. So wearing contact lenses doesn't really make you transhuman.
Kevin Warwick is a British scientist who's known for being one of the world's first cyborgs.
Cybernetics is all about humans and technology merging together. So as far as transhumanism is concerned, it's upgrading humans by linking with technology.
So you become human plus. There's transhumanism. So what is that? They're coming into spiritual alchemy. This is what they're practicing, okay? Spiritual alchemy. And so by the time they get a life from here and then a life from here and create something else, and that's part of what this vaccination is about. And if you don't know it, you're making a mistake. The Bible says all those whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. And I've told you the ways in which that can be achieved. Number one way to achieve those who would come into this world and their names were never in the book of life. Number one way is creating new ones. That means scientifically engineering people. And that's going to happen. Number two, the re-engineering of existing persons. How is that going to happen? The change of your DNA. When a man's DNA is edited, changed, his earthly being is completely reconstructed. He's not the same man that he was. From then on, his thoughts are going to be different. He's a different person, even though he's within the same body, but the body will no longer function the same way anymore, because his DNA has been altered. Make no mistakes about it. It's not the same thing as when a guy is changed to a girl when you are changed from a guy to a girl, it's not your DNA. It didn't alter your DNA. That has nothing to do with your DNA. This is more serious. What we're talking about here, when you alter the DNA, he is no longer a normal human being. He is no longer a normal human being because the configuration for your humanity has been altered. You see it? The configuration for your humanity has been altered. The implication is severe. And this is why you have to say no to transhumanism that is being perpetrated by the World Economic Forum leaders.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed, and of course this has a big impact on your identity.
In our recent investigation into the 7 creepiest technologies coming soon, we mentioned the CRISPR system, a genome editing tool developed in 2015 which could have major ramifications for humanity. Genome editing technology isn't anything new, but the fact that CRISPR is so efficient, cheap, and accurate means we could be about to see this groundbreaking technique used in what some would say immoral new fields.
New research reveals that in about 20% of cells, CRISPR results in much larger deletions than we thought, up to more than 100 base pairs. Researchers didn't notice this before because they were looking for harmful mutations and didn't see any, but that's because the entire region was gone. In CRISPR treatments that would target billions of cells inside the human body, this could lead to, again, a risk of cancer, putting us right back at square one.
Let's really imagine this world where each baby's DNA is manipulated from the moment of their conception in the lab. I'm here to make the case that this practice is not safe, it's not needed.
New study out tonight that says the world's first genetically modified babies may be at a higher risk of premature death. The research found that the genetic mutation used by a Chinese researcher on a human embryo to create HIV-resistant twins may be linked to a shorter lifespan. I want to talk about the science here. Your study seems to indicate that, at least in this case, that the risk may not be worth the reward.
Well, what we did was we looked at the database of people in the UK that had almost 500,000 people. And then we compared people in that database that had 2 copies of this mutation. So one inherited from their mother and one from their father. We compared those people to all other people in the database. And what we were able to show was that the people that had 2 copies of the mutation, they have a 21% increase in mortality rate. That means that in average, they will live 1.9 years have a 1.9 years shorter lifespan than other people.
They're going to sell it to you that if you have this artificial intelligence inside of your body, that you would be able to cure your cancer, that it would find out a tumor and would eradicate it. That would be nice. If you tore your tendon in your knee, these little artificial intelligence, also called nanobots, would be able to go there and fix your tendon in your knee. That would be nice as well, right? But there's always a price to pay for everything. What do you think that price is? That price is once you give up that sovereignty of your human body, once you give up that access to your brain, to your memories, to your dreams, to your thoughts, that it's a two-way communication, that forever, once that happens, there will be constant surveillance, constant monitoring. You would not have any privacy, no autonomy. They also believe that this is the way that they can create a new world, a nicer world, a world without racism, without division, because they could alter the way you behave. This sounds really crazy, I know, but just know that it is already in the works as we speak.
And if you read the Bible, God hates it. This is a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. So for those of you young people who were excited about transhumanism and you were being deceived, they were not telling you what they were actually doing, because it's all, you know, with this science message giving you the impression that you're getting into something big for the future. No, not at all. Not at all. You're dealing with murderers, with murderous minds, psychopaths. When you understand their ideology and what drives them.
See to it then that no one enslaves you by means of the wordless deceit of human wisdom.